Okay, I am trying this on Studio Restream, and I cannot tell if you guys can see me or not. So, if I click that, what happens? Nothing. Let's see. How do I get info if you guys can see me? Share screen, invite guests, video presentations, settings. You want to text me and tell me if you can see me? What I want to do, I want to do that healing I said I was going to do yesterday, but I was too tired. So I have these things here, and we're going to look at that ugly family pattern. And I'm going to do it here too. Hi, TikTok Live. We're going to see if anyone can see. So I'm bringing some boundaries in. I think, these are the characters that I want to work with. We're going to just clear out the energy for a nice fresh start. And so, I'm live on TikTok, and I can tell if you guys can see me there, if anyone wants to go on TikTok, because then I can see if you guys are talking to me. Hi, Leonard. I'm going to be doing a shamanic healing from the Zulu tribe of Africa on generational trauma. And it's often done in a collaboration with other people, but I'm going to just read the field by myself to just show people like what a private family constellation would look like if it's just me and them. And I'm going to be using it with my own family of origin for this demo. So as many people know, so this is my fantasy. So we're using these figurines to hold space, since there aren't, like normally it would be a person, but this is my fantasy. So I'm going to be Wonder Woman. We're going to put her right down here. And now there is like ongoing betrayal by my family. Christina, you want to help me hold space on this? Look, I'm going to be Wonder Woman and my mom is going to be this. So they are encouraging coercive control, which is wild. If you guys like know me, you know that I've been a family court whistleblower and I'm a psychologist and I'm educating people on the horrors and the crimes that are happening in family court. And they are enabling estrangement or erasure. They have, right now, my daughter is with my family, as far as I know. Like, they're letting him leave the state. Nobody's telling me where my 13 and a half-year-old child is. It's, like, totally absurd. So we're going to have, this is my ex, her father. We're going to make him a thief, because he kind of is accurate, right? And I'm using these because I'm looking at a system. So instead of just like a typical family constellation, or like a typical intuitive reading. I want to keep all of this that you guys can see it on both live streams. Typical intuitive reading. There's multiple parts to follow. So I do the intuitive shamanic healing with this way, where I'm looking at multiple parts. Now, I've done tons of work, right? I created Chainbreaker. I was going to have, what I really wanted for this was now, is there a way for me to say that I'm doing a shamanic healing? Like, how do people write back there? I don't know. But there's certainly some evil going on in my family right now. And let's see. I was going to have this represent my daughter. I get to be the hero of my dream. Her father is kind of stealing her. Doesn't that... looks like a slave master to me, actually. That's weird. Wonder if it's like past life stuff that's coming through. And so this is like my mother. And so I'm setting it up this way because I'm kind of like, hey guys, what the heck is going on? And they're like talking in and making plans. Look, this is going to represent my sister. I wanted flying monkeys like from Wizard of Oz, but I don't have those figurines. But for next time, I might treat myself to such a thing. Now, I'm going to have this represent Chris, kind of just like a normal dude. So that can kind of be over here. He doesn't really have anything to do with this. I don't even know if he's needed there. But I'm certainly bringing in my heavenly allies. So we're going to go with, we're going to have a chunk of love. We're going to have that be Jesus Christ standing behind me. He might move into the center of the family. We'll see what happens. Let me see if I can, oh no. Let me see if I can move this so you guys can see more of the field. It says, encourage viewers to watch. If anyone is interested in shamanic healing and you think you have friends that are as well, what I am doing is I am healing in the spiritual realm first so that it manifests in the physical realm. And that is what has Ascension Psychology stand out a little bit differently than from every other one. Now, if anyone wants to help me hold space, and if you are a victim of family court at all, you may feel shifts too just by watching this. And actually, it could also be preventative. Like maybe you're young and you don't have problems with family court yet. This could prevent stuff from happening. So we're gonna have Jesus Christ behind me. We're going to have Yogananda behind me. You know, I feel like Yogananda, Jesus helps me a lot. Yogananda helps me a lot. So I'm gonna just have Yogananda a little bit bigger, and then of course, omnipresent Heavenly Father right here too. So there's lots of support. And I'm going to ask them, can you please help illuminate so I can see everything that is going on here. And it feels like they have their backs to me. So my angle is a little bit different. Like they're kind of like have my own daughter closed out from me. Like I've been saying, it's a bullying pattern. And now I'm doing this as a live because I want you guys also to see, like, you know, like we can shift stuff in your family of origin too. And so I think this is the main one right now. I mean, my dad's involved in this too. We're going to bring him onto the board. And my mom and my dad both have different partners. And so they're involved in it. They're all involved in it. Like, who keeps a child from their psychologist mother? And then my poor kid is like pulled in the middle. And I'm sure it's very confusing for her. All right. So again, those of you just joining me, I'm doing a shamanic healing, but I'm doing it with my eyes open, not in a journey space. I'm going to be healing generational trauma because, and we're going to bring in the evil, crazy court system because this is representing something too. And that it aligned with him. So I'm going to talk less and process more. Like, certainly this power has him, like, kind of high. Like, woohoo! I'm bottomless. And then there's these, like, no boundaries relationships. So what I would say is I would start the conversation with my family of origin and say, like, I've been asking you to have boundaries to keep me safe. This would be to my mother for my entire life. and she starts to change a little bit. Like there starts to be like, yeah, that's kind of true, but I'm still just having fun. Like if we could put her at a tea party, she thinks she's like always at a tea party, when meanwhile like the house is kind of burning down. So, and every time you haven't, 20 years later you regret it, and you still like haven't learned your lesson. Like that's weird. And so that brings some like groundedness into the reality. Like you can't just pretend life is what you want. Like I'm over here being abused by a system and by my ex, and you guys are participating in it, and I don't even know where my daughter is. Like that's absurd. Mind you, he's the alcoholic and I'm the psychologist, right? So like and like what a confusing message to my daughter. So if anyone wants to hang around, I wish, does it say hi? Okay, I can see that there's 3 people on Facebook watching, so hi whoever you are. I would love if I could see some people, but I don't know how to do that, because I would love to ask somebody to like stand in for my daughter and move this into a group. 1, because it's hard to hold space for yourself. Like I can kind of keep going around, but 2, it's really cool to experience it. So like if anybody on TikTok, because I can see your comments, I'm on Restream and I don't really know how to use it well for Facebook and YouTube. So if anyone wants to like just be like, what does it feel like to be my daughter? This is represented by my daughter. And I'll tell you right now, my father like just doesn't take responsibility. Like that's his pattern. So he's like, we're gonna just do whatever we want to do. And so I'm just waiting for the time to come through. And like, yes, I'm using public pressure to like try to have my mom be hit with a bout of reality, because this is like the 3rd time now in the 2 years that, so I've asked her twice and that hasn't worked. So now we have to put the family business out there. So I sent her a cease and desist. She did this last year. And I went to check on my daughter after she believed there was abuse too. And the school, it's like such a mess. I don't even know. The school's like some flying monkeys out there too. And they kept my daughter from me. Like, who thinks it's okay to keep a child from their mother? So there's certainly these like upside down boundaries. And we're going to use this to represent, so it's kind of like the family house. We're going to use this to represent the family. So instead of like a family tree, we're going to use this. And there's just these upside down, no freaking clue which way is godly, which way is normal. And we're going to have these boundaries represented by this house. And I've got my little golden lasso and I'm trying to be like, flip that over. This is absurd that people think that this is okay. All right. My daughter's really hurting inside, right? Like it's very confusing. Like that's what I see. It's very confusing for the whole world to give you a message that your mother doesn't matter. Like her mother's mother is, my mother is giving my daughter the message, I don't matter. You don't need to tell your mom where you are. Let's keep secrets from her. Let's make secret plans with your father who lied in court. Like it's absolutely 1000% the most upside down thing I've ever seen. And there's definitely a layer of greed. So if anyone has a family member that is like this, what I'm going to invite you to do is we're going to have my mom say a healing statement for herself. And I'm doing this. We can't heal other people's families without permission, but we have permission to heal our own because we're intricately designed in them. So I'm going to have my mother say, even though she doesn't want to, because actually she doesn't want to take any accountability or responsibility either, but she's going to say, it's true. You've been talking about boundaries with me from before you even knew what the word was, and I failed at protecting you. Multiple times we've been confronted with the same lesson, and I've failed at protecting you. And she's saying it because she kind of wants to say it, or like she doesn't want to say it, so it's not really connecting to her, but it is starting to loosen up. I have tension in the side of my face and some stomach symptoms connected to this, so it is starting to activate that. And so then the next statement my mother would say, so this is the role of my mother, the next statement that my mother would say is, if I looked at all of the devastation I caused your life, I don't know, I'm trying to track what the statement is. I don't know if I could live with myself. I don't know how to carry that. I don't know how to carry all of the devastation I've caused in your life. And it's true, my coping skill is to pretend that it doesn't exist. And so that's certainly like starting to validate for me. Again, it's starting to loosen up tension on the right side of me. And if you have a matching picture, you can imagine your mother, father, whomever saying that to you also. Now, it's still shifting just from that being said. So the next thing my mom's saying is like, well, I want to see my granddaughter. It's fun to see my granddaughter. She has this like rationalization, like, well, I'm going to die soon. I'm going to be on a lot, I'm old, so I don't know when I'm going to go. Of course I have to see Isabella. Where my stance is, or maybe you could learn your life lesson of setting boundaries. Like if you set boundaries, like it never would have gotten this bad, really, right? So then inside my mother, I do see this like powerless little girl, right? So now it's going into her childhood trauma that she's never healed. So hopefully this also motivates people to go heal your trauma. If you don't heal your trauma, it impacts people's lives, right? So there's this like powerless, kind of frozen in fear, wide-eyed little girl inside of her. And so we're going to just leave that. We can't leave it because it's kind of big. All right, so this is like why it's hard holding space for yourself, because like I don't want to heal my mother, right? Like it goes backwards in line, but for demonstration purposes, right? It would be easier if I was facilitating for you that we could see what's there than, right, me being a non-neutral party healing my own family system. So, all right, she's lighting up. I think she's actually just kind of spontaneously integrating it. Those of you that are just coming on, I did call for heavenly allies first. So they're kind of like, you're right, you don't want to heal your mother, we'll do it. So we're looking at that pattern just dissolve by kind of holding space for it and already opening the space with some sacred allies. And then I'm seeing there's like a whole bunch of unintegrated parts. Like there's some anxiety there's actually like some anger in there and some depression, and so just pretending everything is fine is a coping skill for getting around the anger and depression. So it's like unintegrated parts of oneself. And this is all stuff that I teach. Like, I'm doing psychic healings right now, but this is all stuff that I teach at like beginner to advanced levels inside the Human Potential Ascension Lab. Like, there's techniques people can use to access the healing and heal themselves and work with others. And then as you heal yourself, you carry more light and you can see better. So and then I'm going to have her say, it's true. I've been greedy and selfish. And there's an element of passive aggressiveness here towards me too. Because she didn't want me to talk to... You guys can see me because I'm not doing anything there. I don't know who's watching, but hi. If you go to TikTok, I can see who you are. So there's a... She literally was like, you were going to see your sister's ex-husband and the kids when he was in California? How dare you, you traitor. And meanwhile, she's literally doing that to me now. So there's like, how a person can rationalize that, I don't know, but we're going to take a look at it right now. And we're going to use this to represent it. It's going to just represent a mirror. Oops. Just moving everyone forward because I'm making room for this mirror in here. So she has to like look at this mirror. Can this stand by itself? Doesn't matter if it stands or not, really. But we're going to put a mirror right in front of her. Like, so there's just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And so... I'm just taking a look at, like, if she's being passive-aggressive, trying to figure out, is she mad at me for something? And I think that this is one of the core things. I'm, like, hearing, like, no one wants to be as strong as you are, Lauren. Well, what choice did I have? Everyone left me alone my whole life. I had to either be strong alone or succumb. So... I think what I'm starting to see is that she's not actually really mad at me. She's actually mad at herself for not being stronger, but she's projecting it onto me. So the... Right, and that's another thing, you guys, like, if I could just, like, give everyone an hour of therapy, or I don't have to do it all, but if all of you could just do an hour of therapy a week so we can get through all of these layers of trauma in ourselves, oh my gosh, life would be so much better. Okay, so she's mad at herself for not being stronger, but projects it onto me. And just looking because I want to redirect that energy to herself. And so I think this mirror image, I can do it, like, instead of it like kind of being a beam of light on the mirror and then like redirecting off onto me, we're gonna just have her like hold her own projection, like it just mirror back at her. So in the modality that I'm using, family constellations, I would say this resentment is mine to carry, not yours to carry. And then my mom does have Jesus in her life now, so these patterns that are there, so I will move Jesus forward to kind of support the whole family more and also just kind of shine light. So the, I used to not feel strong enough, but now I know that I have more spiritual light and support. And there is like a shattering kind of starting to happen, like a shattering of the ego being the way that I'm using it right now, that word, because it has so many different meanings. The ego being the way that she's used coping skills, and it's kept the boundaries like upside down on their behind. So now I'm looking at the pattern of myself where there's anger and resentment here. And so, like, let's say my mom's soul family, right? How many lifetimes have we been doing this? I don't even know. But I have the anger and resentment of like having to carry her stuff because she's not carrying it. And so I'm just looking at that, and I'm going to probably just ask. She doesn't want to carry it either. So, and I do see Jesus being gracious. Like, I'll help her carry it so that it's lighter for her, but so it's not on you. I see it bringing up relief. Now, again, the healing modality that I'm using, we are looking at the all-knowing field. And so this is like a intuitive healing in the spiritual so that it manifests in the physical. All right. I'm going to just let some of this settle a little bit more. I'm watching like different emotions going through my mom. I'm looking like light coming and like taking stuff off of me, like our energetic bodies or spiritual bodies, I suppose. And again, this whole pattern, that's where there's tightness in my body and in my back of my neck, down my back. It's like it's like a line that goes through. It's activated. So that's kind of saying that what I am looking at spiritually is connected to health and wellness in my body, right? It's that mind, body, spirit combo. And it is also, right, so as we unwind this from the family of origin. All right, so she feels like it's too much pressure on her. So she's like, what about your father? Which is like its own thing in itself. And I actually see this is good. So with her taking accountability, she actually naturally wants a little bit of space from my ex. What a radical idea. Actually, he doesn't want to move back. I moved that wrong. He would love to just stay in and take that sword and stir the pot. She would actually take a step back so that she can see things a little bit clearer, which, you know what? That's probably the first step of wisdom, don't you think? Now, I still see this alliance between my sister and my ex, which would be fine if he was a nice person and didn't lie in court and kidnap my daughter, right? Or use whatever. So My sister's still benefiting from this alliance. Like, they feel good when they talk to each other or something. It's weird. It's like she likes being his puppy dog, kind of. Like, when he's like, oh, da-da-da, like, she gets reinforced. You know, because he's charming. She gets reinforced by, like, feeling like she fits in with him. Oh, and they bond by excluding me. It's like typical middle school stuff. Like, oh yeah, Lauren is so blah 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 blah. Like, I don't even know what they're saying. And so they edge people on, which is crazy. So they're in like a, you know, that psychiatrist, Dr. Bandy Lee, who calls family court a psychotic, delusional world where they're not following the law. It's like a delusional psychosis, right? Because they're feeding each other's realities, but it's probably not how most other people see the situation. So I'm going to bring in a new element to help them see the situation. And that is, let's see. I guess it can just be this. I'm going to bring in a truth bomb. Nice little heavenly truth bomb. So my mom can have her mirror and keep looking at herself, and we're going to bring in some divine light. I'm going to put that truth bomb right there. You guys can have a nice glaring look. We're going to go ahead and, I see the light coming in and washing out all of the dark delusions. And so we're going to just let that process in there for a minute. And again, you know, it's not like a super fun, exciting, fast-moving social media thing, but if you sit with this and kind of relax into it, or watch it again later and follow what I'm tracking, and if you like, if those of you who are in family court or CPS even identify with being me, and just pretend that you're, you know, this person whose family is doing this crazy stuff after the court's right to void order. Because there's that rationalization too. Well, the judge has the say. No, the effing judge does not. This is America, where all people are created equal. We went under the presumption that they followed laws, which they don't. Do you see my judge? He's a mean nun. But it's like the same black robe, right? Under this presumption that they're following the laws that they say they're going to, and then they don't tell you that there's satanic discretion involved, that they can do whatever Satan would say instead. So then I hear my mom being like, well, that's true. And I mean, if you guys are like, follow me at all, like, I'm totally like, I'm sitting here whistleblowing. Like, my own family doesn't even listen to me. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a whole nother thing, because I'm going to bring that in for myself, actually. Because if I bring in an energy of being heard, right, it's going to help me with my case. So I'm going to just bring in like a grounded, like, when I talk, people listen to me. To my space. Because we're, you know, I want everyone to remember, we're repeating like family of origin issues until we heal it. So if I have the subconscious pattern of really not being heard, or the family pattern might be until I lose my SHIT, and then at that point they can be like, oh, you're nuts. Right? Like, what a terrible pattern to be in. So if we just bring in like the grounded respect, I'm the authority of my own child, right? We can hopefully avoid that other stuff. So I'm going to just sit and let that energy integrate. And that is starting to bring the boundaries back in too, because what I'm seeing is that the mother is the authority of the child, unless the mother's sick. And if you want to be old-fashioned, the father can be the authority of the house, but the mother is the authority of the children. And I'm kind of seeing like Mexican culture, actually, where like Mexican culture, it's kind of set up that way. I think that they still have like that feminine masculine divide in a lot of ways. Like you see it in their dances where like the woman's really feminine and the masculine. And so I see it this is interesting. Whatever just shifted, my ex actually now wants to back up. That's interesting. So I'm tracking some different things now too. Like I've been in a working role a lot in my life, which may have actually blocked my feminine in some ways. Because there was never like, well, now there is, because I've been working less since all of this happened, and Chris has been helping me, and it makes me feel more feminine, and like he feels more masculine as a result right now to me. So interesting. Whatever energy is coming in right now, it's making Wes back up. And again, I have it activated in my body. Now, if we were to look at my family system, I had a friend that intuited, like, Jesus was like, you need to do something about your sister. So let me just take a look. Let's work on that for a little bit. I'm going to I have her as this guy. This is my fantasy. I'm still human. Even though I'm doing real spiritual high-end stuff. Excuse me, is that the characters represent my humanness. So that's weird. I still have Jesus right in between us, and she is like, when he's there, she's ready to take accountability. But I kind of want to see like if that's taken away. That's taken away. This is interesting. She goes into, there's a channeling of evil kind of coming through and directed towards me. That's interesting. So I don't even know what that channeling of evil is yet. We're going to take a look at it together. Why is she channeling evil? I think I might actually close my eyes to kind of take a look at where this, it's like a flow of darkness that comes through her, and she's just an open channel to it. And she's been baptized and everything, so just want to see, is she, like, why is she this open portal to this? Is it ancestral? And so as I'm just tracking it, I'm like just following this dark flow of energy coming from her, and it's directed at me. So I actually see that there's some of it in my space too. But so as I'm in this like wave of darkness, which is evil, this evil flow, just being in it starts to shake it, or like I feel shifts in that tension that I have in my body. But what I'm just feel the calling to do is actually just brighten my light while I'm in here, because whatever this is, it's kind of hiding in that darkness. So I'm going to kind of just breathe and keep making it brighter and lighter. And then I do, now that I'm doing that, see kind of, it's like kind of shown up as the Wizard of Oz man behind the curtain, that he's just as like moving controls and like doing stuff. But I don't know, like, and so it's some sort of like an entity, like something that doesn't belong in the family system. And I'm not quite sure if it's a program, you know, kind of like just an energetic program that's running that's symbolized by this, or an entity or a demon of some sort. It doesn't seem super scary now that I'm like looking at it. And so I'm going to just see, like, can we just pluck it out? And so it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like an exorcism, because it's this like stream of consciousness that's coming through. And so I did kind of see like a, almost like Monsters Inc., the skinny salamander type entity, maybe kind of at the wheels, but it was also just like a program of like a stream of consciousness that's like pretty yucky. Hey, Dallas. So again, anyone that's like coming on now, if you want to identify with any of these characters, this is me. This is like the judge that looks like it's actually has less and, or the court system has less and less power in my family line. The stream of consciousness evil is gone, but there's still just like anger. And actually I see kind of just like jealousy. My sister has a story that I was given more than her, and you know, I was the older sister, and my parents divorced when we were about 11, and finances did become much tighter after that, and so everything we were kind of given after that point was greatly diminished. But so did I have a couple more years of getting stuff? Yes. Like, you know, she was a kid and I was in dance lessons, and she maybe didn't get the dance lessons because then they got divorced. And then I see grief around her own divorce coming up there. But so some of this anger and resentment she has towards me is actually just like an immature child that hasn't been healed. And I'm not saying immature like in a snotty way. I'm saying it like it's a wounded child who has an immature view of the world, and that story is still that cognitive distortion and core belief that's running in there, which is like pretty far from, I'm going to say, reality. But if you don't know how to heal this stuff, right, and that's like the biggest problem with the planet, like people don't know how to heal. Once you heal, all right. So she's not ready to like say a healing statement of like, maybe I was wrong about this. So let me just see. A more mature perspective would be if she said something like, our parents divorced and it impacted both of us, and I was younger than you, and so I missed out on more opportunities that you had at the same age. But it's true, opportunities stopped for you too when you were 11. And that statement actually feels pretty liberating for her. And again, it's lightening this up. So there's been just like a lot of people putting, hey there, a lot of people putting like they're blaming me, which is why I've been the scapegoat of the family when I haven't done anything wrong. I mean, maybe I've done a little bit wrong, but not that much. Not that much to be in this position. Okay. And as far as that goes, I'm not seeing, like, I actually see myself as carrying a lot of light in this situation, and I'm actually not really doing anything other than carrying all of the burden alone because everyone else is like tap dancing and throwing it off and onto me. And it's kind of like a family, I'm going to call it a psychosis, even though it's not. I mean, probably to other planets. I probably think the whole planet is insane. Yogananda said that before. So there's this thing. So this one is representing my dad. It's kind of like Donald Duck. He can go into like anger. And also, they can also have like a fun side. But when I look at him showing up in this constellation for what we're looking at, which is like the betrayal of like holding my daughter hostage and kind of blocking me from access to my own daughter, he looks like he's only half showing up energetically, which I don't know if that fits the addiction and the alcoholism where they're kind of entangled with the death of somebody prematurely sometimes, but I'm going to sit with that question. Why is he only half showing up energetically? Like, where's the rest of him? I think that's the question. Where's the rest of you? And so what if we just pulled the rest of him back in? Does he just have a lot of soul loss? I'm actually just seeing it's a lot of soul loss. So we pull the rest of him back in. He doesn't want the rest of him there. It's interesting. If he had the rest of him, he would have to do work, and he doesn't want to do work. So my dad has a lot of secondary gains because people like have this belief like, oh, poor Gary. You literally would hear everybody say that. Poor Gary. And so he gets secondary gains by not taking responsibility for anything and showing up. And then other people have to carry a heavier load because he's not participating. So if we brought in his competence, so here's like the big moral of the story here, if you guys know anybody like that. And so that's even a secondary gain of the alcoholism. Well, if everyone just thinks I'm an alcoholic, I don't have to grow up ever and take responsibility. So there's some damaged core belief here that, like, you know, working is too hard or something. I'm kind of going to have to stop talking so much so I can track it. But there's also like a, like if everyone just lets you scoot by, only showing up half as good as you can, one, yes, there's the secondary gain of scooting through life, but you lose self-esteem and self-confidence and self-respect. So he also needs to see all the things he's lost. And, you know, and he's like in his 70s, so there's going to be grief with this because that was a whole waste of a life, right? So again, to the people that like haven't done your healing yet, you heal. When you become an old person, you don't have to look back and be like, oh, I wasted my life. You can be like, thank God I nipped that in the bud. So and then the message that's coming in is like, well, if he learns it now, it's better than not learning it, right? Because do you want to repeat this for lifetimes? Right? Who wants to repeat this for lifetimes? All right, so I'm seeing like a more conscious choice decision now. Like, if I take responsibility. And then I see a little bit like, but then I'd have to re-talk to Lauren's ex because I have been enabling him this whole time. Like, he knows it. I'd have to talk to him. We'd have to change it. And like, well, that would be hard and awkward. And there's this like, well, I already lost Lauren. Like, that's what he says. Like, I already messed her up. I already lost her. So why would I lose him too? Because this is the other thing in my family line, was that my dad always wanted a son. So Wes can kind of like fill that role. And then Wes is a drinker too, so they can both drink and neither take responsibility for their drinking. So they like reinforce each other in that bromance. And because nobody else is doing their work, and then I just kind of keep winding up like, well, if we're like her, she's boring, right? She's like nobody sees that like you guys have my daughter held hostage, and if I had her and life was with good boundaries and instead of upside down, I wouldn't have to be the party pooper because it would all be smoother. So let me show you guys the characters again. Not that much has moved. So my mom is actually, I can see like her energetically nudging, like on the spiritual level, like, come on, Gary, you probably should just put everything back in order. But my dad's not sold. So it's interesting. I'm going to bring in my grandpa. Because it feels like, and my grandpa was a good dude. I mean, I think he might have been aggressive as a father, but he was a good grandpa. We're going to bring in my grandpa to stand behind him so that he feels like he has more support, because for some reason, my grandpa has a lot of anger towards my dad, which might be part of why my dad's only half showing up, so that he can kind of be invisible in front of his dad. And now you wouldn't see that dynamic, like if you were to see them interact. And, you know, my grandpa's not here anymore, but that's what I'm seeing when I look at the hidden dynamics underneath this. And so, and my grandmother had a lot of abuse by her dad, and she was very shaming. And I think that as a result, and I think that my grandpa didn't protect my dad from that shame. So living in a shame-based family beat up my dad's self-esteem. And then his sister was like perfect. And so then he was the scapegoat. And that's interesting. So the alcohol is also covering up for that wound. And then subconsciously I'm kind of playing around with this jade dog. And it also represents, like, I think they didn't mirror my dad's skills back to him well. And so, like, he has a real love for animals. And I actually think my dad's calling would have been to have been a, like, ranger, and that if people, like a forest ranger or something like that, and if people, like, nurtured who he was, his authentic self, instead of maybe expecting him to do something else, like, he would have been on a better trajectory. And of course, at any point, he was an adult and he could have decided to join himself too. But why don't we just give him this, like, his authentic self? That's interesting. There's something about the dog that brings him comfort. And some of it, I think, is its permission to be himself. His mom, my grandmother, was like totally OCD clean, but she actually allowed animals in sometimes. Maybe my dad would have had more, but he had more when he grew up. You know what else he does? There's this like miseriness in him to where like he actually does love animals, but he doesn't like spending money at all, even for things that he enjoys, like an animal. He's like, well, they cost money. So he like cuts himself off from things that bring him joy. Right? Where like somebody that has more trust and faith, you know, when you take on more responsibility, the doors open up for you so that you can take on that responsibility. So just kind of saying that and seeing something opening up in him, which is also opening up something in me because I've got their DNA going through my body. That's one of like the big things for you guys to learn is that like if you had to reject your family in order to survive, which a lot of people in abusive, negligent situations had to do, you can't really disconnect from the soul. So it still echoes through there until it's addressed. And my dad, his pattern, this is really opening up something in my right side. His pattern was at least he would give himself like when he would go on vacation, freedom to go spend money and like live large, and that would be like the 1 week permission he would give himself. But there's like a light bulb turning on, like, oh, I could do that all the time. Like I don't have to live that. Like now that part is, so that part did integrate, so he's not showing up fully energetically yet, but he's not 50-50 anymore. Like there's something there like, oh, I could problem solve differently. And then he's realizing like, wait, if I'm a problem solver, I can actually ask how my kids how they're doing, because if I knew how they were doing, I don't have to be afraid of responsibility because now I know I can solve problems. So I'm just watching that integrate over there. Then again, I'm not just playing with dolls. I'm shifting the family system spiritually so that once aligned there, it can trickle down here. So now the boundaries aren't quite up on their head, they're sideways now. And now I'm just trying to decide, do I want to just leave this space here like this for now, or should I keep doing it unalive? My daughter needs a little bit of help. That's what we're going to do. So I do have a kink in my neck. This chair is not so totally comfortable. Okay. So there's this weird thing here. We're going to move my sister out from the middle of the way. There's this weird thing here where my daughter wants me to go to her, and I want her to come to me. I don't mind going to her. All right, so I have this part with me now that when I speak, I am respected and heard. And I'm moving it here. We're going to continue having our dad take a step back. So when I'm there, let's move everybody out. I'm going to come up behind her. And so now that I'm behind her and like in my proper place, and I'll actually move her dad to his proper place too, but we're having him a little bit back farther. I'm going to move myself to the proper place. she's actually really sad because she's been out there lingering alone in this like crazy effing world. And so what they were doing, so in family constellations, like I go behind my daughter. My mother is supposed to go here. Right? My mother actually goes on this side of me. Wait, did I invert it with me and her dad? This side and this side. So I think that there's some role play stuff because it actually doesn't feel natural to go there. So I think that some of it is the women are showing up where the men are supposed to be. So I'm going to put her dad where he goes. I'm going to put, because if my dad was only showing up 50%, my mom was crossing the line. But we are still going to have him step back a little bit because Isabella and I need to heal. So he's there, but Isabella and I need to heal because this is like total chaos that everybody just went into. And then we brought my grandpa on the board so my grandpa can come support my dad. And their parents behind them. But they were like erasing me from the family line. So it sheds light on the family trauma, but it also puts it back into proper order, and it's a healing. So I don't know who said that, but we're moving it in the spiritual realm, kind of as within, so without. We're putting everything into proper order in the family soul so that it helps create order on life. And my family was not honoring my rightful place. And a lot of it actually was because they didn't want to take responsibility for all of the burdens, because I will take responsibility. So like, great, you'll hold all the family responsibility. So it's like, no, everyone needs to hold all of their own responsibility and patterns. And that actually starts to put the boundaries more upright. Now there might still be some more fine tuning in this, but that's a big, like that's ready to go up right now. And so my daughter's been confused because all of the boundaries have been upside down and wacko. And so that's settling in for her now, and that brings her relief. And then Wes's side of the family is like all jumbled still. So, but actually learning from me doing it. But it's like such a mess. Or was such a mess. Like it's better now. My side anyway. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to pause it, and looking at the patterns brings them to light, and I'm moving the pattern around spiritually so that stuff can go back into order in regular life. And so, lots of people are fighting in court for years. I've been doing this, and that's why even though the court order says 1 hour of supervised phone calls only, I spent 6 weeks with my daughter. I should have had her for the whole summer if my family respected boundaries, right? And didn't enable Wes. Like, they're like, oh yeah, we'll take Isabella. So you're going to make it easier for him to have my daughter kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like, so there's still some insights I have to have about their responsibility. Like, I didn't quite put that into the field yet. But if you want to watch the whole thing, I am live streaming this onto YouTube too. So if you came late, it will help your family, because when your subconscious mind is like, oh, that's how the boundaries are supposed to go. Oh, that's how the boundaries are supposed to go. It helps the whole thing. But let's just do energy healing. Let's get any lingering energies off of this. And this was representation of the court. It kind of had to take a step back too energetically, is what I am seeing right now. So, like, it's off on the side back here. All right. And I'm going to just reinforce what I'm doing. I am a bright light in the family. So all of this work and all of this hardship, like the legacy of my daughter's children is going to be much easier because of the hardship that I freaking battled through here. So as much as it sucks sometimes, right, we are not carrying this forward because I'm addressing it now. So, all right. And that is how you can use a family constellation healing to find out what is going on underneath the surface in your family's soul, in the generational line. The chain breaker that I made addresses over 100 topics like this. But this was like more fine tuning what my family of origin needs. For some of this stuff to go back. So as you, like, if we think about what I just went through, like, it was my mom's frozen in fear inner child and my dad only half showing up, right? It was not the massive stuff. Chainbreaker focused on, like, other times people had their children stolen, times countries were invaded, right? This is like more fine tuning. So Chainbreaker is like a shortcut to address over 100. Like, instead of spending an hour doing 100 of these, so 100 hours worth of time, Chainbreaker is 4 hours of getting 100 done. So it's greatly sped up, and then the fine tuning afterwards. So, all right. Thank you guys. Again, the full thing is on YouTube if you want to watch the whole thing. If you identify with any of these characters, you can watch it and kind of just pretend that you're them to feel the shifts. It's interesting. So the court, not only is it losing its stronghold in us, it like is kind of withering away in power from us healing these patterns, because we only go to court because we think that we need to in order for justice. But if we create justice spiritually, they have no power. They have no power. And I think some people are too stuck being angry at the court system and they want to fight them instead of, like, just heal your stuff and take away the power. So there's that. Thank you for checking me out. If you like Chainbreaker, it's ascensionpsychology.com/chainbreaker. If Family Court has totally whipped your behind, I do a free healing once a month, and it doesn't have to just be Family Court. Like, if anything is whipping your behind and you need a hand up, not a handout, I do a hand up. I do offer that free monthly healing, and there's other free resources in the Human Potential Ascension Lab for the hand up. And other, so this is, so the way that I have my business done, actually, people that are in a really tight spot, there's some free resources to help you. And so that's like, in line with my values. Then the next way to get affordable help is the pre-recorded audios, and there's a bunch of different options for those. And so that's the next most cost effective. So, like, some are $47 for 90 minutes, right? Where a therapist could be anywhere from $150 to $600 an hour. My hourly rate is $300. And the hourly rate being, like, if we're doing intuitive healing, like whatever it is, right? I've studied stuff from around the world to help people with powerful transformation. So, and then there's like the 14-hour training that I have out. It's 14 hours to learn how to facilitate. And so then that's kind of, that progresses up. So we, it's made so that we can hold people's hands and keep pulling people up all the way. And some people have had really big transformations just by doing Chainbreaker, just by having one session with me, just by coming to the free healings. There's free trainings in the Human Potential Ascension Lab also that are spiritual psychology, because psychology sometimes just limits us to behaviorism, but we're spiritual beings that have the potential to all be enlightened masters. And so we are healing the field in ways that traditional psychology doesn't yet always admit is possible. And so, again, thank you. I hope all of that has been helpful. I hope that you were able to take something away. Now that I put the field in proper order, I'm going to leave it here. So I might keep fine-tuning it as the day goes on, or a little while goes on. Hi, Anna. And you should come to the free healing. You haven't come yet. And so, yeah. Thank you again. Now, how do I shut this off? We can pause the live there. And I'm going to stop the live here and stream. Thank you for coming.